Hi there, welcome to the virtual field trip of Tempe, Butte. I'm Steve Reynolds. I'm a professor in the School of Earth and Space Exploration. This site, north of the ASU campus, right close to the football stadium, gives us a chance to look at a scenery, to look at the rocks in the scenery, to figure out how the rocks formed, and then to use that information to try to reconstruct the history of this place. And the same principles apply to almost any other place you go, so we'll use some general geologic principles to try to figure out what exactly happened here. Whenever I come to a new area, I start by saying, let's look around at the landscape and see what we see. What's the shape of the landscape? What are the different components? Are there different kinds of rocks? And then after that, we can say, well, we should go observe each one of these kinds of rocks, figure out what it is, how it formed, and then from that information, be able to reconstruct the geologic history. So let's start by just looking at this landscape behind me. If you look at the hill behind me, there are two different kinds of rocks, plus there's the surface that we're standing on. There's a dark rock that's forming a cliff, and it's a little shiny. It does seem to have a lot of internal layering. It just seems like a massive rock. To this side, there's a series of reddish-brown rocks that do have some layers, and you can see from here that the layers are clearly tilted. They're inclined like this. So between these two rocks, there's a boundary which geologists call a contact with the darker rocks above and the reddish-brown layered rocks below. We can follow that boundary between the dark rocks above and the brown layered rocks below, and it starts high on the hill and comes down to the level of the parking lot. The third component of this landscape is the flat area that I'm standing on. Right now it's a parking lot, but below the parking lot there are loose silts and sands from the Salt River, which is not very far in that direction. So this was an area that in the past was flooded by the waters of the salt, and it deposited a layer of sand and silt where I'm standing. And then later on the parking lot came over, and then the cracks in the parking lot came later. So one of the things we like to do when we study a landscape is to try to determine where the different rock units are and what the boundaries like between them. And one of the ways we do that is we make a geologic map. To do a geologic map, we take some kind of a base map. I'm here holding a topographic map of this area. And we take with a pencil and we draw the boundary between these two rock units behind me. The first thing you have to do though is you have to orient the map in the proper direction. So I know where we are on this map, and this cliff face is running about like that. So on this map, that's the orientation. So when I'm holding it like this, that's the proper orientation.